I'm excited to be here, and thanks, Paul, for allowing me a chance to talk to the crowd here. This has probably been about 4 to 5 years in the making. I've been trying to get to Colombia for that time frame, and nothing like a pandemic to make it a priority. So I'm really happy to be here. The title's Canadian Mining Innovation. We have a delegation here of suppliers, and really what I want to do is kind of profile those companies for you to give you a feeling, but we'll be tied to this, this theme. And if you go, just to quickly introduce who we are, we're the national voice for mining suppliers in Canada. We've been making those connections with those companies to opportunities around the world for about 40 years. And we're tied to part of that, that's our piece to the ecosystem of Canada in mining. And so our sister organizations such as the Mining Association of Canada, which I believe we're just here recently with introducing towards sustainable mining, which is a very innovative framework for responsible mining. And of course CIM and PDAC. So we're part of that. So this is my attempt to put mining innovation at the 100,000 foot level for you. And really what the innovations and everything we're trying to do is tied towards the main goal in the center there, towards zero waste mining. And what you'll find is there are 3 main buckets that you're trying to achieve, and they're not independent but interdependent, and you'll see that in some of the examples I provide. But you're trying to reduce the water intensity of your operation, you're trying to reduce the energy intensity of what you're doing, and you're trying to reduce the environmental footprint, and of course the carbon footprint is a very big piece of that. And I frame that in that box there under productivity and safety. That is a key piece to what you need. You want to do everything that's in the most safe environment, safe approach, and of course it's all about productivity. So it's kind of a given that everything we do is tied into that. And you could put that box and rename it as well as responsible and sustainable. So when I put at the bottom there, everything we're doing in terms of innovation for mining in Canada, it aligns well with CSR and ESG approaches. So I'm going to now walk through a few of the examples of the companies that are here, and hopefully you can, if you want to learn more about them, please reach out to them. So the first one here is Petrobarrier. This is kind of more on the environmental lens, the E of the ESG, if you will. And Petrobarrier is really about trying to prevent and make sure you don't have spills, but not only that, you're also trying to clean the water systems that you do have. So they have a process that allows you not only to do hydrocarbons, but it'll also do heavy metals, acids. They do a whole spectrum of effluents. But the key there in terms of innovation is the remote monitoring. This is a trend you're seeing in a lot of technology, is removing the data collector away from the process because you don't need them there anymore. You have the technology to do it. Whoops. My next one here is ACT Labs. As it says, a global leader in assaying. They sit there and align with some of the sponsors here. But they're, again, it's tied to having state-of-the-art technology and the capacity to do things very accurately with the highest quality and very fast for you. Kind of switching gears here. This, I was going to mention it at the beginning there, Paul, but with Liebherr and all the big boys, I call them, getting into the battery electric, we have our own Canadian company, McLean Engineering, that started into that industry or into that path. And they now have over 80,000 hours of operation battery electric. So if anybody wants to talk about battery electrics, AI, and all that, come talk to me later. Hardline, this is about getting the operator away from the machine and out of line of sight and out of danger. As you can see here, they have the teleremote technology, and you can effectively start building control or command centers, as you can see in the bottom right. This also has the ability of actually having one operator for serial operations, so you can actually retrofit your existing operations, and they can go from one operation to the next machine to the next machine to the next machine if it's in a serial manner. So I think this is where the future of a lot of the assets are going, and definitely Bill's right there. So if you want to talk about this technology, definitely reach out to him. And kind of following along that line of having, if you're going to have the operator's eyes and ears kind of away from the machine and up on surface, you're going to need something to actually make sure the machine doesn't do something silly while it's underground. And so our friends here at Becker Mining Systems, they have what you would call the Smart Detect, which is the sensor arrays you would have around a machine to prevent it from operating when a human gets too close, or even another asset, so you don't have accidents. They also have taken that smart technology offering to two other. They have a whole plethora of options, but I'm just giving a few here. They have the Smart Blast, again, removing the operator away from the risk, if you will. And then the Smart Sense is more of it's a multi-gas detector, and that's where you're seeing a lot of the technologies are getting miniaturized, and they're able to handle a multitude of tasks. And so that's just, if you want to talk to Joe and Peter over here, and they can tell you a little more about their business. Railveyor, this is kind of, like I say, revolutionizing material handling. This is kind of taking the haul truck out of the system. And as you can see, that's a pretty impressive number. Lisa told me that there's actually another number that's even, it's 90% more efficient. They did a cost comparison at one of their operations and found that the haul truck was at $4 a ton. Their system got down to under 40 cents a ton. So this is revolutionary, and it's going to have a very interesting path forward for it. And again, it ties into that Venn diagram you saw, where you're making things cleaner, safer, and more efficient. Sepro Systems, again, another well-known Canadian company, really into modularization of your processing equipment, but they're also going down this path of a technology that's been trying. Everyone's heard about microwaving. If you stick a piece of aluminum in your microwave, you'll see what this does. But they've made it work. It's an idea that's been around for about 30 years, but they've seemed to have cracked the code. And what you're trying to do here is actually make the rock a lot easier to grind. And so comminution is the largest energy consumption in your processing, and this thing is looking at up to saving 70% of your energy costs, which is a pretty substantial thing. So I believe Joe's around here somewhere, or not Joe, Jose. And then our friends at CEC Mining, this is, you hear about dry stack tailings. Well, to get there, you need their technology. And so this is an example of their largest ceramic filter install in North America. And this is kind of the trifecta of that Venn diagram. You're reducing your footprint by reducing your tailings, you're reprocessing your water, and you're also saving a lot of energy. And that bottom key there, they saved up to 83% from a conventional filter technologies. And just a shout out to them, they've actually have this now deployed at the Atico's El Roble operation. Whoops. And the last one, to bring it kind of all together, building projects is a stressful engagement for any company that's done it. These guys make sure you get the value of that build and construction over to the operations. And so Progesys, as they say here, that transition from construction to operation, you can lose up to 30% of your MPV of your project. So these guys are experts in making sure that happens. It's not the only thing they do, but they're experts in the PCM of the EPCM equation in engineering. And they just recently did an acquisition in Brazil. And so it's just helping them have that further depth into the South American market. Whoops, and that's it. You guys can go for coffee. Thank you very much, Paul.